There's plenty time forevermore, and the warmth will never leave. Take me away. Take me away. Take me away.
That's a wrap.
Hey. Good morning. Hey, I'm on the road from nowhere, they call it here. It's a nice road, and they just stopped building it, and a lot of politics behind this particular road, but it's about a half mile from where I live, and very quiet. So I decided to come here and make a video about driving in the Philippines. Let me give you the view here, if I can do. Okay, anyway, what I want to talk about is when you come to the Philippines, do you want to drive, really? And if you do want to drive, do you want to buy something? Do you want to rent something? And what's it all about? A lot of things to think about here. First off, where you live matters a lot. If you're living in a big city, it's completely different than living in a province like I do, a small, out-of-the-way place where there's not as many people. The big city driving's a little bit different. I'm going to start by dealing with the area that I live in, but in the big city. Well, you know, if you like bars and you want to frequent them, you're probably going to want to live in a big city, but I don't care the three hoots about a bar, although I do love a good restaurant. But so the more secluded areas appeal to me more. So we do have a town here, and it can get busy. And when I first came here, I said, there's no way I can drive here watching these people drive. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. The police are not here to give you tickets for speeding or blowing a stop sign. You could even fall off your motorcycle drunk, go to the hospital, and never see a policeman, period. Okay, they have checkpoints, and whatever they're looking for once a month or whatever, that's what they're interested in mostly, unless there's complaints or something going on. And so anyway, the police is not the problem. The problem is being safe. So what I did for probably almost the first year or so, I just observed, you know, and okay, I'm more cautious than most, but on a lot of the islands here, there's like 7,000 of them. They're not that big. You don't have open straightaways where you're going to get a lot of speed going, and there's lots of turns and curves, and there's no use for any vehicle that goes over 50 miles an hour unless you're crazy. I mean, I see foreigners here with big Harley Davidson motorcycles and 6 cylinders on them, and it's ridiculous. They probably never get out of second gear. And the same thing for cars. They have them. A lot of it is just status, but is what I see. But they're nice to have if it's raining, but raining usually isn't a problem here, and if it does rain, it's usually for a couple months and only an hour a day each day. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. I observed the driving here, and it's like a game of chicken. You go, whoever goes first. It's a polite game of chicken, but it's always being played. And you come to an intersection, 4 or 5 people will go. If they see just the slightest opening, then someone else will go, and then you get caught. You can't hesitate here and make progress. I mean, I first came here, I didn't want to drive, and a friend of mine is a truck driver. He lives in Dumaguete now. He said, well, I know they're crazy here, he says, but I just go to the right side of the road and drive very slowly and let them all go around me, which is, I think, pretty good advice for when you're just starting. But yeah, it's something to learn. When I was a kid, I did a lot of bicycle riding, and that taught me a lot about how to drive here, I think. It's just, you have to be aware of everything around you. You don't know if someone's going to just come in from another intersection that they're supposed to stop at, or if they're going to blow through that, or if they're going to stop. So you have to, 30 miles an hour is a good speed to be very safe here, I think. And that gives you enough time to react. Dogs sleep in the street at night, and they cross the road whenever they want. There's goats, cows, everything coming around. So driving can be done, but it's on a whole different level of observation. You have to pay attention to your surroundings, and you can't go too fast and you'll be okay. But having said that, for 20 pesos, I can get a trike, and someone who drives for a living can take me anywhere I want. I says, so do I really want all the problems of buying a car, a motorcycle, insuring it, versus paying somebody 20 pesos is 40 cents to a ride for town? That's for the first 6 months or a year, that's what I did. And if I was in a bigger city, I would still be doing that. But I'm not, so I'm a little bit more comfortable here doing that. They have some hoops to get a driver's license, but when you come here, your foreign driver's license, at least from America, is good for 6 months. So, maybe most people don't stay any longer than that, then they don't have to worry about that too much. But, and I hadn't driven a motorcycle in 30 years. So I was not really comfortable with the thought of getting one, but because of the curbs on the island, in all islands basically, in the speed, it's really like a bicycle here as far as I'm concerned. So it's much safer than it would be in the States. The States will kill you dead on a motorcycle because they pretend you're not here. Here, 80-90% of all the traffic is motorcycles. So everybody's expecting a motorcycle, everybody sees a motorcycle. And then having said that, not riding in 30 years, and I'm ADHD and a little bit daydreamy, shifting gears and everything and trying to keep alert, I thought was going to be a problem. But a month or so, that was fine. So that didn't turn out to be as big a problem as I thought it was. And then if you buy a motorcycle here, that's a whole interesting story. They don't give credit to foreigners, so if you got cash, you're all set. But they'll give it to Filipinos. And my wife, she wasn't working, didn't have a job. She still doesn't. There's no need for a job here when they only pays diddly squat as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather just have the company of my wife. So I had her apply for a loan, and they says, well, what's your income? And she says, well, my family has a coconut farm. And they says, okay, go home, take a picture, and Gabi, they Gabi, I should have harpoon. I get it wrong all the time. Anyway, they take a picture of you by a coconut tree, and that was proof of income. It's kind of mind blowing. And they approved her to buy a motorcycle, and that's how we did that. But for the first year or so, I had her drive me everywhere because she's used to this nonsense of, well, it's actually more functional than Western driving, but because there's really no laws that are enforced and people do what they want, they go the wrong way on a street, they drive at night without lights on their motorcycles, you name it, they can carry what you would think could only be carried in a pickup truck on the back of a motorcycle. So it's just all about being smart, using common sense, and being aware. So she drove me around for a year before I even got into it. So, but I have that option, and it's a good option when you have a Philippine wife who does drive. So I got accustomed to it after. So I'm okay with all of it now, pretty much. So I would say, if you're going to be here for a while, just observe. Just see how things are done. Pay that 20 pesos to go to the grocery store or wherever you're going, and make your decision from there, because it's just not the same as back home by any means whatsoever, however you slice it. It's a lot of freedom here to drive however you want, and that's nice, but you have to keep that eye open for whatever could be coming. I mean, they put rice in the roads to dry, okay? And that's written right into the motor vehicle code. Watch out for rice in the road. Don't drive through that. People making their living on drying their rice in the middle of the road. And that's just a whole different ball of worms. Oh, and for the coronavirus lockdown update here, there's still no one allowed to leave the island, and there's still no one has tested positive for the virus on this island or the islands around us for the most part. Yesterday, the city of Cebu had not the city of Cebu, the entire Philippines had 6 people die from the coronavirus. And, I say, let's open up, okay? Because 6 people fell off the toilet yesterday and hit their head and died too. Let's get real. But, yeah, you can't live in this hot, sunny area. But anyway, drive, peace, have a good day. Thanks. Subscribe. I appreciate it.